We're back with another episode, and we're into the new year, or getting close to the new year. I hope many of you have started or have attempted a list of things that you want to accomplish in 2019. So, something I've done is I've got a long list of things that I want to accomplish, the things I want to do in 2019. Now, I was reading somewhere that, and I was talking with somebody in my entrepreneur calls that I do, and I was telling the individual, I think he's from Portugal, and I told him, as we go into creating something or building a business or wanting to accomplish something, we have to have it on paper, because studies show that if you do not have your goals or what you're wanting to accomplish on paper, more times than not it doesn't happen. So I challenge you, write down 10 things. If you can't think of 10 things, write down 5 things that you want to accomplish in 2019. It's very, very important that we all continue to grow. Many of us get stuck behind TVs, social media, just living it day by day without having any true direction with where we're going, which limits growth. We all have to continue growing. That's very, very important in this day and age. We have to continue growing. So, today's message, as I often think, it's funny that the 2 times that I often get many of these ideas are, 1, when I'm brushing my teeth, and 2, when I'm taking a shower. Some weird places, but there's actually, if you want something cool, I was reading something to where if you start brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand, it starts to create new neural pathways. It's very important for brain health. So there you have it. So you can't ever say I never gave you anything. That's a freebie for you right there. So today's topic, and I told myself I didn't necessarily want to go into this topic, but as I was talking to an individual, and we were talking about various topics, and the topic of racism came up. And I thought about it, and I was like, what the heck, why don't I make a video about it? And growing up, for maybe many of you may not know me, I don't know who's watching this video. Growing up, I grew up in I would call it a small town, 13,000, 14,000. And I won't put everybody in this category, but there's a fair share of racism that I've experienced. And I mean, I know to a T, first name, last name, to every single person that has said something racist or has made a derogatory remark to me or around me. First and last name, I know every single one of them. Every single one of them. It goes all the way back to 5th grade. I remember every single person. So if you're watching and you're one of them, don't be too nervous, because I won't share your first and last name. I'm not that mean. I know. So, but anyway, so I went through some of those things with having to deal with racial remarks, racial profiling when I went to stores. I mean, something is even, I think a few years after I was out of college, I was back, in my hometown, and I had a lady racially profile me. And I was like, man, I was scratching my head. I was like, I don't come off as somebody that would even want to attempt to steal anything, and I definitely don't come off as somebody that's a criminal. And as I was talking to this individual, it clicked on me, and it's so funny. Most people that are racist, it blows my mind. It's hilarious to me, and maybe you can relate. But most people that I find or have come around or have been around, most racist people haven't even been or spent a significant amount of time around whatever ethnicity or group that they're racist towards. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. Because in my mind, I'm like, how could you ever hate somebody and you've never spent any time around them? So, and we always get, well, I'm not racist, my best friend's black. Or, I'm not racist, my best friend's Indian. Come on, man. Really? Just because your quote unquote one friend that is a minority that has been around you or shares the same cubicle or whatever, that does not make you racist. And that's a piss poor excuse to use, especially if you're racist, to use the one person that is a minority. There was one person I remember back in high school, and they were like, their parents had mentioned something. They're like, the parent was like, "Well, I'm not racist. One of my good friends in high school was black," and I was like, that was like 25 years ago, and so I'm sure many of you guys can relate to racist people. I think you guys, the people that are racist, very, very ignorant, but I understand, because usually how it works is this: either the grandparents were racist and the grandparents had kids, and those ideas or that approach trickled down to their kids, and then the next generation had kids, and then their generation. So it's a trickle down effect of just ignorance, pure ignorance. And many people, I remember one time being in a store, and this lady, I think I was walking towards her. I think we were walking down the aisle, and she like clenched her purse. I was like, little old lady, I don't want your peppermints, and I don't want your Tootsie Rolls that are in your purse. I don't even want your money. I have no desire to steal from anybody. I don't know the idea of, that's the thing about watching too much TV. You watch TV, and then they a lot of times the news will create this message or agenda of, we're going to hate this group of people today, we're going to hate this group of people tomorrow. You see it a lot with people from the Middle East. Many people are now racist towards people from the Middle East just because of what happened in 9/11. What happened in 9/11 was just a small percentage of ignorant terrorists that decide to do harm to America. So we can't put people in this, we can't put everybody in this bowl and just say everybody from that ethnicity or that race is bad, or whatever these news outlets say. You know, I ran into another person that was like, I just don't understand why black people are so violent. And of course, I'm not mad at the person for saying it. It's just they have never been educated. So my attempt in life now, how to deal with racism is I approach it as, I'm going to change that person's perception on how they feel about my ethnicity and my race. Because what I've learned is, somebody that's racist, more times than not, you're not going to change their mind on what they believe and why they hate somebody. But what you can do is you can add positive energy to the situation and give them a different perception on a group of people. You know, people talk about Asian people. Well, Asian people are this, and this. I'm like, have you ever spent any time around Asian people? Well, no, but I saw it in stories and movies. It's like, please, people, racist people, please stop being so dumb and naive. I know that's a little bit negative, but come on. Just because somebody made a movie about a group of people that shows them in a negative light doesn't mean that everybody is categorized in that same sense. I don't get it. If somebody can help me get it, please do. Maybe it's me. Maybe my perception of it is wrong. But and if it is, please somebody correct me. Like I said, not a stubborn well, for the most part I'm not stubborn, but if I'm wrong, I'm going to admit it. But like I said, growing up, having to deal with some of those things, growing up, I mean, even in my own, I remember in the locker room, there's two instances. My freshman year in high school, I remember a guy, I know his first and last name. We were playing, it was a playoff game, and we were playing Kankakee, and he made a racial remark when we broke the huddle. I was like, dude, and then what makes it even worse, he's like, oh, Kendrick, no, I don't mean you, it's like you're different. I was like, dude, how am I different? it's still the same racial remark. That's just stupid. And then I remember another kid. He was, well, we won't get too deep into what position he played, but I remember him my sophomore year. I came into the locker room and I had like this hat on. It was kind of like kind of like one of these beanies, but it had a rim on it, or whatever you want to call it. And he made a racial remark about that. And I was like, a lot of times I ignore things, but I'm listening. And I remember it all. So I just felt like, I kind of went on a tangent, but it was just I wanted to, like, if you were ever dealing with any, the thing is we all need to speak up. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic. We all need to speak up. If you have friends that are making racial remarks about another group and they're very nasty and negative, you need to speak up, because then you become the problem too. So let me repeat that. If you have a friend or family member that you're around and they're making negative, nasty, crude racial remarks about another group of people, you need to speak up, because if you don't, you become the problem. And that's what we're seeing today. We got this racial divide in this country right now that's just sickening, and it's stupid. And people that say that it's not going on, you're naive. You are very naive to say that it's not happening. And what makes it even worse is, how can you sit and say it's not happening when you're not a minority? Just think about that. And what's even worse is, how can you say that and you're not a minority and you don't have friends that are a minority? So how could you ever understand it? Just think about that. So people that I have no room in my little toolbox of positive energy for racist people. I don't. That's just not how I was raised. That's not where I'm from. That's not what I'm about. So more times than not, when I'm around somebody that's racist, I speak up. Why? Because if it was the other way around, or I'm sorry, if it was ever a situation where somebody was talking badly about my ethnicity or race, I would want somebody to speak up for me if I wasn't in that situation. Because if you don't speak up, you become the problem. It's kind of like bullying. You see somebody getting bullied and you don't speak up, you become the problem too. So I just think that's a message that many of us need to hear. I know there are many people that will watch this, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll know exactly the people you've been around that have been racist. Ask them if they've ever been around a minority. Ask them if they understand that minority's culture. Ask them why they're racist. If they say, well, that group of people is just nasty, they're ignorant and you need to educate them. Now, I understand that there are a lot of uneducated people in this world and you'll never be able to change their mind. But the best thing you can do is at least try to educate them and try to give them a positive idea on another ethnicity or race. But if you just sit back and let them say what they want to say, you become the problem. And that's the thing we're seeing in America today. Got a lot of people that could speak up, but we're worried about, well, what if our friends don't like us? If your friends don't like you for speaking up for something that needs to be spoken up about, especially when it's negative and you have friends that need to be protected, does that make you the problem? Or does it make you the solution? We all have a voice. We all can use our voice. Many of us choose not to because we want to save face, which is the dumbest thing ever. If you know people that are racist, if you know people that are being bullied, if you know people that are being abused, speak up. Because those people need us. They need us more than you could ever imagine, especially today, in today's world, where we're seeing this racial divide between people. And it's sickening. But many of us just sit back and just, oh, well, it's not affecting me. It's affecting all of us. You go into jobs, you can feel the tension. Go to stores, you can feel the tension. I won't say it's for every place in America. There's a lot of places like that. And we need to utilize our voice a little bit more instead of sitting back and just letting it be okay because it's not directly affecting us. May not be directly affecting us, but what about generations after us? You got to think about that. We're so selfish at thinking, well, it's not bothering me right now, so I'm not going to say anything. You're right. Maybe it's not bothering you. Maybe you're comfortable with just sitting back and not saying anything. What about your kids? What about your kids' kids? Something to think about. I hope that many of you watch this video. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Share this. I want you to share this with somebody that's racist. I'll take them out for coffee. Mark my words. Send them my way. I'd love to meet with them for coffee. Change their perspective. Give them a little bit of education. Because I think that's a lot of people just need to be educated, and they're not. And so what happens when people aren't educated? They make these preconceived assumptions about a group of people that are very inaccurate. Send them my way. We'll go out for coffee. Might hold hands. We won't hold hands. Not. Well, I'll take them out for coffee. We'll have a conversation. I'll change somebody's perception. Because like I said, I've got a voice. I like to use my voice. I like to try to put as much positive energy out in this world because we need it. Some people aren't as comfortable as I am as speaking up, speaking out. So send those racist people my way. I'd love to have a conversation with them. So if you found this video of value, please share it. Please share it with somebody that needs to hear it. Please share it with somebody that needs to be educated. And then most of all, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. We all have a voice. Some of us choose to use it. Some of us need to use it. Some of us won't use it. Whatever you decide, I hope that you can add positive energy into this world because we need it. We can't fight it with negativity. Positive energy breeds positive energy. I want you to remember that. So until next time, cheers.